Nice to see you. Here in the neighborhood. Anyway, today we're going to be talking about temping and different tempers. Well, not too many different tempers, just a couple, because we don't really keep too many tempers here at the shop. And so let's go back a little bit. So the original, well, the older school temper are these basic piston tempers. This particular one is made by Reg Barber. And Reg Barber was the true originator of high quality tempers in specialty coffee. When I started out, he was pretty much the only game in town. And here now in 2020, unfortunately, Reg is no longer in business. It's a real kind of sad loss, and pretty much everybody has copied his design, ripped him off, and basically stolen his design and claimed it as their own. But we still use the original Reg Barber temper. I've got quite a number of them at home with different types of pistons and different handles. This is the original style, Bubinga wood with Delrin top. So many years ago in the third wave, you would, and still at coffee shops today, you'll see practices where they will tap the portafilter. The idea was that we were trying to, I don't remember, but basically we're trying to loosen the puck to keep it, to make the coffee better, whatever the case may be. So Reg came up with doing the Delrin insert to be the thing that hits against it. And of course, other people would do things like that. Baristas are always trying to do these crazy things to give all kinds of style. You know, everybody thinks they're doing cocktail, you know, with the bottles and stuff like that. Anyway, so the basic is the Bubinga handle with the stainless piston. What's going on? How are you today?
Very well. How are you?
Be right back. All right, now that we've taken care of that customer, where were we? So we've got the temper, and the temper has, like I said, the handle and the piston. And this piston, so Reg started out making stainless steel pistons. There was another temper before that made by Schomer in Seattle that used all aluminum, which was nice too, but the aluminum was a little bit softer metal, so it, especially with the practice of, you know, hitting things, hitting your portafilter, it would ding the aluminum. Of course, back then the portafilters were made with brass, chrome-plated brass, so that's also a soft metal. So maybe it wasn't too bad, but by using this, the stainless is a bit harder. It's also a bit more sanitary. So Reg started out with a flat one, and then there's concave, convex. There's this one that has like the swirls that are meant to try to hold. I don't really know. It looked cool. It's been so long. I mean, this particular temper I bought for Hamden, for this shop, back in 2009. So it's 11 years old. You can see that they would do laser etching and then fill it with enamel. So you could sort of see that this says, what does it say? Oh, Spro Hamden, hun. Let's see if we can get that to focus better. Focus? Whatever. Anyway, so that's one temper. And then like the new thing that's out are these kind of Twirly Bird, these distribute. So they're combinations. So this and this go together. So there's a distribution tool and then a tamping tool that has a really finely polished surface. Now these two are Chinese versions. I guess you could say Chinese knockoffs. They cost, I found them in Asia when I was traveling. They cost, what, $35? You know, you buy the Western versions that are, I don't know where they're made, but the Western versions of this alone are like $250. So, or maybe but it's expensive, and it's like, I don't really want to spend that kind of money on something that I'm just going to play around with and experiment with. So I kind of found these on a trip and I decided to give it a try. And so it's not, some of the versions you're going to see have much more pronounced wings, but the idea behind these is that as you turn it, it's supposed to distribute the coffee across the basket, right? So you're putting this here and it's distributing the coffee evenly. So instead of doing this, you just do this. And you see, and I as a judge in barista competitions, I see them, they're doing all this kind of craziness and they're using the tamper and they're tamping it down and twisting and everything's twisting, but I don't know if there's really any rhyme or reason to it or really understanding of what's going on. But these are interesting. You know, I think that they are nice tools, and you can set the depth, right? So they will, like this one, I'll take it apart completely. So it's 3 pieces. This is more of a locking collar. So you've got the stainless piece here that has these nice gradations. I guess it makes it look like you're measuring something. And then there's a cap. Okay, and so basically you've got, this is the spacer. The metal, the stainless part here is really heavy. I mean, it's a heavy. If you threw this at someone and hit someone in the head, man, you'd probably knock them out. There are other versions that are on the market that are the pricier ones that aren't not this kind of heavy. I mean, this is significantly heavy. So basically, you're setting your depth. So this will sit. This piece here sits on the rim of your portafilter and sets the depth of the distribution, right? And so you can set that to whatever you want. I don't really set it too deep. You kind of want to adjust it to meet the amount of coffee that you're using. So if you're using, you would use different settings if you're using 14 grams, 18 grams, 21 grams or more, and depending on how much compaction you want. But basically, you'll set your depth and then use this piece, the top piece, and you're kind of screwing these two together to lock in the depth, right? So, like that. And then, buddy. All right, so like we're saying, the Twirly Bird, or I don't really know what these are called, but they're an interesting way to do it. So you'll take your portafilter and make sure that it's dry. We're gonna input our coffee. So as you can see, depending on the way that the doser puts it out, it's not exactly even. The idea with this is just to take this, it goes on top, and then you twist it, and as you can see, it's coming down on it, spreading the coffee around. And you can see it's pushing, it's pretty polished, it's pretty smooth, right? There's a little bit left here where the blades were. And then you'll use your tamper and then compact it. The idea is that I think it's supposed to be a little bit more ergonomic and that you can just press it down. Now if we clean off of the sides, off of the wings, the excess ground from the wings and it looks like that. It looks pretty good. And the idea is that it's supposed to be easier. And what we use it for, we've actually tried using it as a training tool because, you know, to actually get, let's say for example, if we're using the Reg Barber style, these piston style ones. Let's grind some coffee. So again, here, let's say we have this dose, which is a lot. Well, let's get rid of that. So we got a little bit, we reduce it to probably about 21 grams we need. But as you can see here, it's you know, you're going to see that it needs distribution, right? There's a little bit, there's a ridge line here. It's also higher sloped. So the doser's never going to put it in your portafilter evenly. So now when you're just using the piston style, then it really takes more technique. You really have to be a barista that can look at this and determine, okay, there's a little bit of a divot here, plus the ridge line, so I need to pull the coffee around without losing any, because if I'm only using 21 grams, I got 21 grams in here, I don't want to lose it. So I've got to learn about how to distribute the coffee and get it around, get it all across the basket so that there's even resistance. And then I'll place this on top. And one of the things about this is because it's a free-floating device, as you can see as it sits here, it's a little bit canted this way, right? So now I will have to use my fingers and work my way around the basket to make sure that the portafilter is even, right? I mean, even though it looks kind of uneven there, doesn't it? So really, you got to understand how to make it even. So what I use is 2 fingers on both sides, touching both the rim of the basket as well as the edge of the upper edge of the piston, and then come back, and then we'll tamp. Of course, we're tamping on the surface, not really like this. And then the thing about tamping is that you've got to be able to tamp it in a way that you're tamping evenly and not distributing force. Like some people may do it a little bit off, right? Or this way or that way. And unless you really are well trained, it's hard to get it to be flat. Whereas on this ridge here meets the rim of the basket, so it's always going to be flat, right? It's always going to be level and flat with the. So in many respects, I mean, the results are. So we got 2 here. So as you can see, this one is the ridged, the Reg Barber one. This is the Twirly Bird style. They both will do the job. It is a little bit easier if you're not as well experienced, if you're well trained or as experienced a barista. It's easier to use the Twirly Bird to get this kind of result, right? Whereas this kind of result, you really do need to take the time to learn how to do the craft. So this versus this. And so, you know, this is I think the Twirly Birds are a nice tool combination that makes making espresso much easier, especially for the home enthusiast. If you can find a decent price, or if you don't really mind spending the money on the really nice tampers. I mean, those Twirly Bird tampers that come from companies like St. Anthony Industries, they've got beautiful like finishes and wood grain, and the knobs, instead of being like this, you know, this just simple, cheaply turned and anodized aluminum, they've got nice stainless finishes, they've got knurled finishes, you know, all kinds of, you know, wood, and really just really pretty tools, you know, as pretty as like this tool, you know. So it really kind of comes down to what you're looking for your expression, your personal expression as a coffee person. And so I hope that gives a little bit of insight into these types of tampers. And we'll talk a little bit more again in the future about other styles and other things that might help you. If you have any questions, of course, feel free to put them in the comments below, or send it to us, or email, or whatever you want to do. And don't forget, if you enjoyed this video, please like it. That would be very helpful. And subscribe. That makes it really nice. And one day maybe we can put up one of those silver, platinum, whatever things that YouTube sends people that actually have a lot of subscribers. So if you subscribe to us, make sure you hit the bell so that notifications come to you. If you need coffee or anything like that, we're open here in Hamden and Baltimore, daily 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. during the COVID, maybe longer when we past it. Or you can also come to our website, sprocoffee.com, and we'll send you coffee to your home no matter where you are. So that's pretty much it today. We'll see you again sometime soon. Ciao.